Growing up, everyone in my family was very open with each other about faith. It was always a safe place for me to talk about my faith. In high school, I felt like there was a lot of ups and downs with friendships and everything, and God was always just like a constant. I felt like I was always waiting for this moment in my life where I knew that I needed to get baptized, or I knew everything about the Bible or everything about faith. I quickly learned that it's not like me who's doing the waiting, but God is just there waiting for me. I feel really ready to just fully put my trust in Him and let Him lead my life the way He wants it. So I watched this movie called Jesus Revolution, and in the movie there was a scene of someone being baptized. It was really significant for me to see that because it made me realize that being baptized is Jesus reaching out for you, and it's kind of a step that I'm taking to lean in towards that and let Him bring me home.
Well, life for me early on was kind of had trials pretty young, and I don't think I knew what I believed in exactly, but I believed in something bigger than myself. You're looking for something to fill this hole in you, because that's what it does. Trauma as a young person just leaves a hole in you. So I struggled with all kinds of addiction and all kinds of anything I could find to fill the hole. Going back to school, I dropped out. And I got pregnant, and I had my daughter, and very soon after lost my partners. And that was something that created this, it widened the hole. I ended up having a suicide attempt, and I was resuscitated and brought back to life. I decided the next morning, all right, fine, I'm going to church Sunday. I got to watch a baptism take place that day. It was moving to watch them share their faith in such a beautiful way. Having come to understand God now the way that I do, I've realized that I am so grateful to know Him now in the way that I do, to feel Him in my heart the way that I do, and it's time for me to also just represent that in an actionable way.
I was born premature, but in a very, very loving family. I recall a little bit about going to church at my younger years. In my 20s is when I started my own family. So I felt, okay, after rebelling, I wanted to relax. I had 6 kids altogether. I got 3 boys, 3 girls. I love every one of them. I got into a fight with my wife, and my wife kicked me out. So the cops had made a call here to Southridge. But everybody here treated me with open arms. And I started coming to devotion, observing people here, led me to believe that now He's always been here for me, and I just hadn't seen Him. My understanding of baptism is it's an end of one part of my life and a beginning of a whole new life. I need a little bit more help than just myself, so I'm surrendering myself to Jesus Christ in order to help.
I've been coming to Southridge my entire life. Coming to Movers and Shakers growing up and right when I was just at the end of elementary school. Just experiencing His love for the first few years of my life was just amazing. When COVID came upon this world, I really took a hit on my faith, and I started following God less. It took me a few years to realize that God has pulled me out of a place where I was pretty far down. It's if He can pull me out of anywhere, so why wouldn't I follow Him? When I prayed and I wanted to hear His voice, and He brought me to that passage of just growing as a person spiritually, it really sparked something in my body to get baptized as the next step of publicly showing that I'm a follower of Christ and that I love God. And it doesn't mean to me that I'm gonna stop doing exactly what I'm doing. I'm still gonna continue to grow my faith and become closer to God. It's a lot more exciting now, because now I wake up and I don't just sit around and play video games. I wake up and then I go spend time with God, and it's definitely more fulfilling and makes me feel a little more whole.
As a child, my faith was very strong. I was raised in a Catholic home. I had some trauma, in the family home and just in life in general. I started to move away from the church, and my faith started to get broken. I had a severe trauma. I lost a baby at a very young age as a teenager. I was 15 at the time, and now I wanted to return to my foundational faith, which is how I was raised, which is through the church. So there's a few reasons as to why I would like to be baptized. It physically represents the relationship that I'm entering with God and with Jesus. So faith it's cured that loneliness. Believing in Jesus and putting my faith and trust into God and Jesus is healing that.
As a child, I was raised Catholic. When I did get married, when I was 21, I had 3 kids in a row, and I was in a really abusive relationship, but it was my first relationship. After 8 years of it, I decided I can't do this. Somebody out of the blue came to me and said, I have money. I want to give you the money to get out of town. And the next day I went to a safe house and I moved to Calgary. Now I'm with Tom, and yeah, it's working out. We've been together 20 years and he's my rock. Tom and I hit a roadblock, and we were actually at a park, and Tom came to me and he said, Judy, guess what? I got us in a shelter. So then when I went to church, I got goosebumps as soon as I walked in the door, and I said, this is it. I mean that I want to be baptized. I want him to know that I will go as far as I can to prove to him that I'm faithful. When they put you under, that's all gone. That's going to be kind of gone in God's eyes. And when I come up, I'm free of it. And then I even love more.
I lived in an alcoholic, abusive home. I was always told I was stupid and never going to amount to nothing. I got in with the wrong crowd, and it started to take me down a dark path. I left home at 17. An older guy came up to me one day and gave me a bag of weed. I started selling marijuana to be able to eat and to be able to pay for my place to live. I couldn't quit, and I thought the only way of quitting would be to take my life. I attempted suicide. I took all my medication again, and then when I awoke from the coma, my dad and my good friend Phil, and I hadn't spoke to my father in 20 years. I don't know why. I forgave. That moment that I woke up is a gift from God. And from that moment on, I've started to build a fantastic relationship with my father. I was talking to my friend Phil, and I was telling him I wanted to volunteer at the church. But giving back is helping me in so many ways. I want to get baptized because I want to be cleansed. I want to be reborn, and I want to let God and Jesus into my heart and into my soul.